there, Elena Jordan here with MEA Worldwide. We are sitting down with Devin Druid, who plays Tyler Down on the hit series on Netflix, 13 Reasons Why. Thank you for being with us here today, Devin.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Now, this show is an absolute revolution. It's very, very controversial. It has a very diehard fan base as well. The second season, though, this was really kind of all about your character. Opening up the season, too, with you kind of narrating the first episode. How does it work with Netflix with, we binge watch the whole series. I know I can't wait until August 23rd where I'm going to be binging all of the third season. But when you were given the script for the first episode, did you know what was going to happen with your character in the finale, or was it kind of more of you get pieces of the script as it goes?
It's probably a case-by-case basis with different shows. Brian, our showrunner, he likes to sit us down and he'll take us out for a dinner and kind of give us a rundown of the season, and then we all just sort of wait in anticipation for scripts and to see what happens. He likes to only give us the information that we need. For instance, different seasons have, mysteries, as in like season 2 with the Polaroids, and then season 3, the tagline, who killed Bryce Walker. So he doesn't like to give us all the cards, but give us what we need for the performance. And, we're just like the fans. We wait and see and theorize ourselves as to who did what or who's behind something. So we're in on the mystery.
Big controversy this season was your scene, the big bathroom scene that I know some people have said is too controversial, but I know that you've defended that scene. Why do you feel that it's important to have a really real and true gritty representation of things that are so intense like sexual assault on a show like this one?
Well, because sexual assault is just such a common thing, as much as we don't like to think about it. What's the statistic? Isn't it like 2 out of 3 college girls are assaulted on campus? And that's something that's just become such a normal part of culture that in season 1, there are 2 girls who were sexually assaulted and nobody bats an eye. And then a male character is sexually assaulted, and it's violent from a violent character, and that's the nature of how these things are in the real world. There are kids even younger than Tyler, who's a high school senior, who are being assaulted in even more brutal ways like that, with baseball bats. And I think there was a Law & Order episode about a hockey player who was assaulted, and young kids, and these are things that are happening all the time. And it was even to a point where when that episode became a big talking point, I even saw a lot of people online that were saying, like, this doesn't happen. It's like, oh no, it does. That's how often it's not talked about, is to the point where people do think that that's fiction. That's what we want to bring awareness to. I know that I firsthand got a lot of emails on I have a website just to take the domain, but it has like a kind of a newsletter, not a newsletter thing, but like a thing where people can send me messages, and I see them, which is cool. And I got messages from young men and mothers of boys who, told me that they or their sons had gone through similar things, in that by seeing their stories kind of portrayed on such a big show to a wide audience, that they felt validated and they felt understood, and that their message and their stories were getting out there, and that, that would inspire change to a culture, to a society. And I think that that's just such an important thing, and something that I'm really glad to be a part of.
Do you feel that the show has kind of a responsibility, since it has gotten such a huge following, especially going into the second season, really shining light on male sexual assault, which really is something that isn't highlighted a lot?
No, I definitely think that there's, as a narrative, we've strived to, first and foremost, it's a TV show where we're providing entertainment, trying to tell a story, but I think we realized very quickly after season 1 dropped, because of how many people latched onto the show and held it as their own and used it as a way to talk to people, as a way to form, social groups and people that they felt safe with. I think we quickly found that it could be used as this vehicle to talk about real world issues, that it could be an entertaining show, but be just kind of wrapped up with these real world issues that we could talk about with people, and that it could start these conversations. one of the really cool things that happened after season 2 aired is there's this nonprofit organization called 1 in 6, and they work with men 18 and older who have been sexually assaulted, and they work with them through a rehabilitation process and talk with them, and they offer really great resources and guides. And their website had actually spiked after season 2 dropped, and they were like, what is going on? And they had found that our show came out, and they watched the show, and they really appreciated the nature in which the assault scene was presented, and as something that is very natural to what happened, like something that is realistic. And they felt like that would be a great opportunity to help talk about this issue. So they came on season 3 as consultants, and so they consulted on every single script, talked about better ways to word things and talk about the issues, and they made themselves available to me 24/7 for any questions and conversation for the performance. And they have seen season 3 now, and they really loved it. So that's really important to me and special to me to have that guidance there.
Now, man, you just are an incredible actor in this show, just absolutely phenomenal. That scene in particular, how do you prepare for something like that?
It's a good question. I think one of the most important tools for me and a lot of my coworkers, and I think any actor in general, is just empathy. Just being able to, even if you haven't personally experienced what maybe your character has, just being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and imagine what that could be like and what that would feel like, and sympathize and empathize with it. And that's kind of been my process for any role that I've done, and just thinking about the pain that someone has maybe gone through. And I think it's kind of tragic, the way that the system had failed Tyler in the school system, and and maybe tried to start helping him to a point where he goes to a rehabilitation center and he learns a lot of skills to deal with his anxieties and his anger. And then he comes back, and the same people who have been tormenting him and many other kids at school have not been dealt with, which is just a result of that system kind of failing people who really need it. And he tries to use those skills, and it just it doesn't work. And I think another benefit to that scene is so much of it is physical, that it's, once you say action, things just start moving. And it's that I think the scene starts with my head, Tyler's head, being pushed into a mirror. So it's a candy glass mirror with foam behind it. The sink that Tyler's head is slammed on was a Rubbermaid sink. So we rehearse it, and then...
But was that still you doing those stunts? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, props to you. You're just incredible.
But working with Tim Granadaris, who's just the nicest guy. It's crazy. He and Justin Prentice play the worst people, but they're the nicest people. It's amazing. They're so loving and so giving and compassionate. And I remember after every take, we had our own separate rooms so that we could be in our own mental space with each take. But I remember the sweater that I wore, because there's a moment where he's dragging me to the stall. I remember the sweater was like chafing around my neck and in my armpits, and he was like constantly making sure that, like, he would call in wardrobe to make sure that things were handled, and he would call in the stunt guys to make sure that I had the pads. And he was just so like cognizant, and as in the moment of an actor as he is, he was still being so just aware and looking out for me, which is, you can't ask for anything better to work with a scene partner on something that intense. So that was the scene.
And kind of talking about how inspirational the show has been as far as relevancy for these big issues in real life as well. You guys have also kind of revolutionized a little bit behind the scenes too, because I know you were talking about how they have 1 in 6 was available for you for this upcoming season. But also having counselors and therapy dogs and things on set. How important do you feel that it is for Hollywood to set that as a precedent to have these resources available for young actors like yourself,
Yeah. especially
in the growing amount of shows that are gaining popularity with these intense issues.
Yeah, I think we're lucky enough where the people working on the show, we make the show because we care about it and we care about the issues that we're presenting, and our producers are just so loving and nurturing, and they're really like Joy and Crystal and Mandy, like a lot of our producers are really like a second and third mom to a lot of us because of the way that they take care of us and reach out to us and provide support. And I think, you know, if we're going to continue to portray things like that and talk about them, you know, we need to be doing, you know, in real life a lot of what we need to do for preparation. I think mental health is just such an important aspect and such a thing that is luckily now gaining more traction, and how much we have to take care of ourselves and look out for each other and having the resources available. And, you know, I think culturally, and I say that word a lot, culturally, because I think it represents such a big impact of who we are with identity, you know, who we all are and how we function and how we look after each other. And I think Clay said it best in season 1 that it's got to change. You know, we have to be able to look out for each other. There needs to be changes with mental health and, you know, learning the signs and taking care of each other. And Hollywood should absolutely follow that. You know, it's an industry that's full of a lot of progressive people, so I think that would be something that could hopefully happen.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us. I absolutely cannot wait to see the next season. August 24th, right?
23rd.
23rd. Oh, even a day sooner.
1 week away.
1 week away from today on Netflix. So thank you guys, and check out the next season.